Coming at You podcast contains adult themes and language. It's not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Now, here's your hosts, Kevin and Chris, with Todd, who has only one job.
Now we're back.
Wait, that's the whole thing?
That's the whole thing.
Oh, I didn't do any pictures. I didn't do anything.
You can do it right now.
Yeah,
We'll
do it again. We'll start over again,
Ready?
Todd. He gave you the signal, and then he just sat there and
I know,
stared.
but usually it's a lot longer.
He was like a deer in the headlights.
Don't worry about it.
No, we're going to do it again.
Coming at You podcast contains adult themes and language. It's not intended for all audiences.
One goddamn
Listener
joke.
discretion is advised.
Seems like more than one right now.
Here's your hosts, Kevin and Chris, with Todd, who has only one job.
And we're back.
It's like deja vu.
He's still not ready.
Dude, it's way too fast now.
Coming at Your podcast. You should have gave him some kind of a warning bullet that you changed stuff. Do you have the old music handy?
No.
No, we're live now. We're live. We're back up, boys.
Here we go. You want a long time?
It's too late. Dude, we already got the cameras up. Pictures are gone.
Silence. Oh, Jesus. Now he's opening beers up against the thing. All right, so you can hit that now, bullet.
No. He wants a long time with the music.
Is this you playing? Piano?
Beautifully.
All right, let's start the show, please.
It's already been started.
Yeah, turn that down. It's so loud. You can't hear it because your headphones aren't on your head.
I can hear your big goddamn mouth.
Can you hear how loud that is?
I can.
I'm gonna do a slow fade out.
You need to put your headphones on.
Yeah, please put them on because you can.
Because you haven't changed the volume. There it is.
Slow fade out's professional.
Are you ready to do this now?
I was born ready.
All right, can you take the sunglasses off?
No.
You're killing me.
No, I'm looking right at you. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, episode 223 of Coming At You podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Scott Todd.
Since we don't want to look at anybody when we're talking to each other.
When did
retard?
Who was that Star Trek guy that used to wear the
Yeah, these things are so painful to wear because they're so tight.
Reading Rainbow guy?
Yeah.
It was the Reading Rainbow guy, Geordie LaForge.
That's right. So, episode 223 of Coming At You podcast is brought to us by Philly Comedy Club. This Friday night, we have the Lone Bird Comedy Show featuring Michael and Paul Verdi. Also, shows are at 7:30 and 9:30. You can use the Coming At You podcast code CAYPOD for discount tickets. Saturday night, we have the Louis Bird Comedy Show. Or the Lone Bird, it's the same one. It's a different picture of a different guy, so it's something different. The Lone Bird Comedy Show again, featuring Michael and Paul Verdi. I guess they're brothers, right? We could do a comedy show. Also, use the comedy code CAYPOD for discount tickets. Yeah. On Saturday, you also have the Atlantic City Comedy Club. You have Paul Vierzy from NFL Network featuring Alexis Guerreros and Mark Gerber. And Jocelyn Chia. You can use the Coming At You podcast code CAYPOD for discount tickets. Right. Show is also brought to us by Dads in Cargo Shorts.
I talked to Dave over the weekend.
And how'd that go?
Well, he helped me get the website back up because the website was having issues.
And now it's back.
Yeah.
And it's back.
It's back.
So Coming At You podcast is back on. And show is also brought to us by Out of Pocket Network.
Out of Pocket Network. They have a variety of sports-themed and special interest podcasts.
Also brought to us by Ref Tattoo.
He's at the Keswick Tattoo Shop, and he is right by the Keswick Theater and Keswick Bicycles.
You're getting better at that one.
I am. Also
brought to us by Extreme Cage Combat.
Yeah, I don't know when we're doing another one. I hope sometime soon.
I would like to do one soon because it's been a while. Since what, February? Is it? I guess that's not that long. It's like 2 months.
Yeah, it feels long.
But I need one. I need one a month is what I need. So
and that one went smooth.
That one was good.
That one was
also brought to us by Netflix.
Yeah, I just realized I went through my Netflix queue the other day, and I have so much shit that I have to catch up on. It's unbelievable.
I save a lot of shows, like I add them to my list, and then never watch them.
Yeah.
And then I start a lot of shit that I watch on my list, and I just never take it off. So when I'm going to search for a show that I want to watch, I got to go through all my bullshit.
My Netflix queue is turning into like my fitness goals. Just it's not gonna happen.
I wish they would revamp the front page a little bit.
Why? To what?
I think I have so much, sort of like you, I have so much on my list that it's too damn tough to scroll sideways to get through it. So if I hit something where I went to my list
You want
and
it to be like a tiles?
a whole screen of all my shit that I want to watch.
Yeah, it's too much. And I have the same problem with YouTube with my kids. Like they watch, it's logged in under all the televisions because like you watch them on your TV now.
Yeah.
And they watch so much bullshit that when I go to watch something, it's all just filled with all their crap.
You have different profiles though.
For YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sign out of my TV every time I want to watch
But they also
something.
you got YouTube Kids. That's coming to X1.
You still have to sign out and sign back
That's
in.
coming to X1.
My kids are not gonna watch YouTube Kids.
My kid loves it.
Yeah, your kid loves it because he's what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4.5.
At that age, my kids were already watching Walking
Although
Dead. So
I
you gotta
had
stop coddling the kid.
There's a problem with that though.
I had Connor ask me today. We were watching the Cobra Kai trailer on the TV.
Who's Ed Connor?
My son.
Oh, I thought he said Ed Connor.
No.
It sounded like he said Ed Connor, didn't it?
And no, I said I think. But one of the searches said Christopher Perry, and they're like, "What are you searching for, Christopher Perry?" I'm like, he must have been searching for himself on my
why
TV.
would I search for myself on there?
Why
wouldn't you?
I've never done a search on YouTube for myself.
Bullshit.
I swear to God I haven't, especially at his house. Why would I do it at his house? I do it at my house. But the kids have like you're talking about all the nonsense. Can you take the sunglasses off, please? Jesus Christ.
Should I unmask?
Yes, please. That would be pleasing if you did that. It would be easier to speak with you.
I feel like can I get like a camera shot on this cool little outfit that I put together?
Give him the camera shot, and then we can.
I'm coming in with like Johnny Skeletor coming in here
Get
today.
away with it.
I got the fucking hood like Skeletor. I feel like this is a cool look for me.
And there's still a logo up on the screen, by the way.
That's okay.
What logo?
Dads in cargo. Oh, it just went down. Dads in cargo shorts was still showing on,
I feel
on
like
the
this
live
is a
stream.
good look for me.
It is a good look for you, but not when we're communicating
Chris,
with each other.
See, now we're on.
Yeah.
It's a delay.
I know.
It's called a
So it's a good look for you, but it's not easy to communicate with you when you have that look going.
These are These are my nice new sunglasses. I bought these on the Amazon.
So let's stay on topic for a second about your shit being all just full of nonsense. Do you log out every time your kid wants to watch something on YouTube?
No, he uses YouTube Kids.
Right. Okay. So is that a whole different app?
Yes, it is.
And what does he watch on YouTube Kids?
Honestly, he
Yeah.
watches a lot of music stuff, like how to play piano. He watches a lot of...
Hey, this bullet.
Hey, he's back.
It was me, Austin.
And he's back.
It was me the whole time. He watches like a lot of this fucking kid, man. He watches videos like on how to do like Pro Tools for recording.
Would you let him watch The Walking Dead?
No.
Really?
The fuck is wrong with you? No.
Declan started watching that shit when he was 5.
And he made a shank out of a popsicle stick and
He
tried
didn't-
to stab me.
Hold on.
He didn't stab you with it.
And the other day, the kid was scared to death because it.
Oh yeah, we watched a show called the Terrifier, which is it's just this clown with white and black makeup and black teeth.
Why would you do that to your kids? Don't you want them to
They
like...
put it on and asked me to watch it, so I'm watching it with them.
You know that's fucked up, right? You're like, I'm not the weird one for
Oh, yeah.
not letting my 4-year-old son watch The Walking fucking Dead.
No, I get it.
You're like, what are you going to stop coddling them?
Yeah, you
I let
stop,
my kids watch porn.
stop babying the kid. So anyway, we're watching. Have you ever caught your son in a lie?
Yeah, but he gives himself up. He's just being like a rascal.
My kids got me into trouble last night with some lying. So today was take your kids to work day.
Yeah?
Did you take your kid to work?
Fuck no.
Okay. So
My job is dangerous. Hold on, real quick. One of my buddies at work, Lester.
is this a shout out to somebody who got injured?
Yeah, he broke his back in 2 places and his ribs. He fell out of his bucket.
He didn't have the little
We don't know.
safety harness on?
We don't know. All we know is that they said, look, you know...
You only need a second of not paying attention for something
Lester
bad
fell
to
out of his
happen.
bucket. He got really fucked up bad.
What did he land on?
I don't know.
I guess
I don't know if the harness
to break
stopped
your
him.
back, you probably wouldn't have to fall far either. I mean, he could have been like 10 feet up, getting in it.
Yeah,
and
we
fell
You just
out.
have to hit the ground wrong.
he could have hit
or land on
he
something.
could have hit electric and got thrown off of it. Like we don't know, but I just wanted to send him a shout out, and
My
I hope
buddy
he's doing better, man.
Sush's friend
good dude.
broke his back like 2 years ago. He was climbing a waterfall with like through the rocks, and the rocks are slick. Well, he slipped from like 30 feet up and landed on a rock that was like 2 feet wide, and just fucking wrapped himself around it. Like, but it only takes a second of not paying attention for something really bad to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, like you get lazy if you're like drilling something and you don't put safety goggles on.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, you don't really think about it, but it was driven. You know, you're so with our job, we're climbing ladders all the time, we're by electric all the time, and you just kind of get used to it. It's kind of like you kind of grow a little bit complacent with it, like you said, and it only takes a second, man.
Well, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he is.
Hopefully he'll heal up and be semi-functional if that's depending on how bad he's injured.
Yeah, I don't know the extent, but they were just like, look, man, 2 things. Please fucking be careful. This job ain't worth your life. And 2, there will be OSHA inspectors. And there was one today in Levittown. Like, yo, make sure you guys are wearing all your shit. I went out of my own. I spent my own money. I bought a better harness because the one they gave us.
Super reinforced?
Yeah, the fat chick. No, the one they
I'll
gave.
throw these in anywhere I can.
The one, that's all right. You're unlovable.
Now, are you allowed to buy your own harness? Because
Well-
the reason I asked that
Well,
is
they told me no.
because if that didn't fail, if
Yeah.
that failed, all of a sudden,
Well, I
Dude.
talked to the safety director, and they told me
There's
that
probably certain brands that you're authorized
he told
to
me
use.
that they didn't know if they would accept that. I'm like, the ones that you're giving us are literally like $35. Like I looked it up on the website.
Yeah, that
So
can't be that
I
safe.
went to the same brand and spent like $200. It's like, I think I'm worth it.
I think you're worth it as well.
And then I bought a
200 though, Chris? 200?
And then I
Yeah,
bought a
he's definitely
cowboy.
worth
I
200.
bought a cowboy hard hat.
Oh, Jesus.
Did I ever tell you that story?
You've told us.
And
about
I was
it.
up
I
on the.
haven't seen a cowboy hard
It was it's a black cowboy hard hat, and I'm up on a ladder, and I'm doing work, and it was the day after the Eagles beat the Cowboys, and this guy stopped and stuck his head out and goes, "We kicked your ass," and I'm an Eagles fan. He's like, "Why do you have a cowboy hat on?" I'm like, "'Cause it's funny." He's like, "It is kind of funny," and then just drove away.
So, have you ever caught your son lying to you?
Yeah. Well, like little kids, like they'll do stuff and it's obvious that they're lying and just making stuff up, and then he'll
Especially
be
if
like,
it's
"I'm
just
making
you.
stuff up."
Especially if it's only you two in the
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
house.
that's got to be tough. I had one yesterday
No, I hang out with his family sometimes.
where it was take your kids to work today, right? And Declan comes down the steps. He's like, "Can we stay home tomorrow?" I'm like, "Well, I have a meeting, so I can't take you guys with me. It doesn't rotate. Pay attention to me, please." That's better. So, it's hard to have a conversation if you're not even listening.
I am listening.
Nope, I'm stopping. Go.
So anyway, Declan, I took him to work, and I took him to work, and what Declan said to me, he said, "Dad, you're the best jiu-jitsu player that I've ever seen in my life." And I said, "Well, son, I know you're lying because you witnessed the train on the mats, and we know what a unbelievable force he was in the jiu-jitsu world before an injury took him out." And he said, "You're right, Dad. We should mourn the loss of the grappling world." And in fact, they honored me. When you practice jiu-jitsu, they call it training because that used to be my name, The Train. And that's why they call it training now. Thank you. Thank you. Jeez, man, someone got their labia in a fucking headlock.
Chris, has your kids ever lied to you?
It's hard to have a conversation if you just don't even conversate back.
I don't know what you want from me. I took my sunglasses off. I unmasked for the second time on this show, and apparently that's not enough.
But I'm trying to have a conversation, and you don't want to have the conversation.
I'm engaging with you.
You are engaging with me. So anyway, today was take your kids to work day. Dad comes down the steps and he's like, "Dad, you gonna take us to work tomorrow?" I'm like, "Nope." Right? So he asked me about 10 times. I keep saying no. Aiden comes down the step. He's like, "I'm calling Mom at work." Right? He comes down. You can hear him up on the phone upstairs asking for her at work. And Declan comes running downstairs 2 seconds later. He's like, "Mom said we could stay home if you say it's okay." And I'm like, all right, I don't give a shit. 5 minutes later, the phone rings. And I'm getting laid into for not discussing plans with her to coordinate how we say we're going to do stuff. She's like, you told the kids they could be off, and just kind of lays into me for like 5 minutes. And Declan's sitting next to me while I'm on speakerphone getting yelled at. And I just look at him. He goes, should I go to bed?
What an asshole.
I'm like, yeah, you should go to bed. But I remember,
What happened to your eye?
What do you mean?
Your right eye. It looks like someone hit you in the eye or something.
He might have just rubbed it.
Maybe.
It looks
Like
weird.
the eyeball. So I was thinking of this, like we used to do stuff to my parents like that when I was a kid. Did you and your brothers do that?
Fuck with my parents?
Yeah. Like if one parent said no, I would go ask the other parent. I know Kylie used to do it a lot.
You're going to find this impossible to believe.
You were an angel as a child?
Well, I didn't drink until I was 32. I stayed in my room. I read comics.
When you say you didn't drink till you were 32, you didn't have a drink until you were 32?
I never had a sip of alcohol until I was 32
Never. He
years
was
old.
straight edge.
I guess that's what you want to call it.
That's what he was? That was his thing?
No,
No, not. It was meaning he didn't partake in any of
Well,
substances.
I stayed in my room. Like you got to remember, I grew up in an
Were
age.
you locked in that room? Or
Did you
were
have tattoos before you?
I didn't get it. I didn't get a tattoo until 30.
So all in a period of 2 years, tattoos and drinking.
Yeah. But
Would you say tattoos are a gateway to alcohol?
marriage was. I'm serious. I grew up in an age when nerds had shame. Like there was no Comic-Cons and the internet, so you could like connect.
There's a Comic-Con this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Ric
but
Flair's going to be there.
It was a lot different. I stayed in my room. I read comics. I wasn't really playing music yet. I could hear my brother upstairs playing music. And
So did you lie to your parents at any point?
I didn't. No, I think the craziest thing I ever did was I would stay out a half hour past my curfew, and I would ask them if I could, and if they said no, I would. Well, stick it to them. I'll stay out like 5 minutes later. Like my twin brother, he was the maniac. He took the car out when he was like 14 and crashed it, and they would hold huge keggers and crazy parties and shit.
Did your dad ever do shit like you're just like questioning like why he did it? Because I was kind of talking with Todd earlier.
I was a
today.
good kid.
Yeah, not necessarily that you're a good kid, but you get in these like battles and you kind of let the kids do like they kind of take control a little bit sometimes, and just kind of let them go. Like I remember like our dad used to take us to church on Sundays, every fucking Sunday.
Yeah.
And we would, I guess we annoyed the shit out of him after a while about going to church, that he would just park the car behind a bank and leave me and my two brothers in the car. Like, do you remember that? Like, we would sit in the car a lot.
Now, the heat had gotten high enough that maybe I've lost consciousness a time or two.
Yeah, like in summertime. Like, windows cracked just a little bit sitting in the back.
Isn't that fucking illegal?
It's
Well,
illegal
not back then.
now.
Not back then.
Like we
Yeah.
talked about last week, like he took the odometer off the thing.
Yeah, your dad was a fucking pimp.
But
My dad had a convertible vet, and 5 of us would sit in it. So my
Yeah.
mom and
Driving
dad,
down the road.
My mom and dad would be in the seats, and the 3 of us would straddle the instrument panel thing in the middle.
Yeah, I guess.
But dads are great. Like, do you remember the first time you found your dad's porn collection? And what?
Never,
And
never found my dad. My
never-
dad. No.
wait, didn't you say your mom used to be a nun
Yeah.
and your stepdad was a priest?
No.
What did he do? Or what does he do?
My stepdad was a world famous Broadway dancer and toured the world like with Fred Astaire and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's got to be videos out there.
Yeah, there's probably videos.
Yeah,
we got, and then he stopped. He got out of the business, and then he was a union carpenter for like many years until he retired.
So
My biological dad, he was no, I
want to know about your dad's porn collection.
no,
Like,
I
you
never found it
anything?
either. I never found him.
Not even a glimpse of anything.
No, we would see my dad on the weekends.
When was the first time you actually saw some porn?
Probably a friend's dad or something.
Like, you don't remember how it went down? Like, I remember exactly the way I found it.
No.
Like, I was in my parents' room.
Found it in the woods. Remember that? You would always find like a
There's
porn
always
stash.
that. Yeah,
And it
some
was-
dude's jerking off in the woods.
Yeah, you'd found it.
Like, I remember finding my dad's Playboy, and it was Miss August 1978, and it was in between the cushions, and I pulled it out, and I just remember seeing this mound of hair. Like, I never even had it occurred to me that there was hair down there. And I look at it, and I'm like, oh, it's wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I
I snuck into the room every couple hours. And we might have been on a rotation because I remember like putting the book back some places, and my dad wasn't home, and I'd come back in again and take another sneak peek, and it's not in the same spot where I put it. It's like moved over a foot or two.
He also had the old box in the garage as well.
He had a
that
box
was
in
up
the
on a high
garage.
shelf.
He had one up in the shelf in the closet. He had some weird ones too, like
Over 50, which now I'm into. But at the time,
I think it was over 50. It was over 40.
I think it was over 55.
He
He wasn't 55 at
I
the
think it
time.
was.
He was in his 30s.
I don't know.
He
what,
was into some.
Some old shit.
I don't know what was better. Like when you're a kid
He could have
growing
been in
up,
his
you
30s.
have like to me, women
We
were
were
like
low.
mysterious as shit, and it's like you had all these questions, and you thought you knew, and you'd hear something from a friend, but you didn't really know. They were like women when
You
I
remember
was
the first
growing
time you
up,
saw some tits?
like in real life.
Yeah.
No,
I was standing at the end of a driveway with Shane Young, right? And this Mustang comes by, and the dude just locks the brakes up. He goes, "Rrrr," and just chirping. And this chick leans out of the car, and she's like, "Check these out." And she lifts them up.
Oh,
I had to
wow.
be like 11, and she drove away, and I just sat there in awe for like 5 minutes.
I can't really remember.
How about any creepy situations that you were? If you look back now,
Was it highly inappropriate?
I remember I was with a buddy of mine, Eddie Vile, and I was in like one of his neighbor's house when I was 15, 14, watching like hardcore porn
With him?
with the dude.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is that
The
about?
dad or the...
So I'm just thinking about it now.
Wait, you're
going,
watching porn with the dad?
with some neighbor of his.
How old's the guy?
Oh, he had to be in his 40s or 50s.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, that-
Yeah,
that's
now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
Like, this just occurred to you?
yes. I just remembered the story when
Did
you were
he
talking
touch
about
you
it.
in your privates?
I was hoping, but he didn't.
That's weird.
Yeah, they ought to burn that dude alive.
Well, and at the time it was like, oh man, this dude's so cool.
I don't know.
Did he jerk off in front of you?
I don't think so now.
You
No.
would remember
I
if
would
somebody
remember
did
that. No,
something
we
like
didn't.
that.
We didn't.
I just remember growing up, women were like mysterious as fuck. They might as well have been like
Like Sears catalog was a big thing.
like fantasy creatures. You didn't know anything really. There was like one guy who was like the fucking wizard that knew all about women, and then as you get older, you find out half of what he said was bullshit.
I remember the wizard for me was Thor Young.
Yes.
And I remember we would ride our bike to the Oxford Valley Mall.
oh yeah,
And I remember the first time I had a conversation about sex, he was 3 years older, and we were riding there, and he's telling me how he fingered a girl. And I remember asking 1,000 questions, and the picture I had in my mind was nothing like what really happened the first time I did it.
That first time, that is a weird feeling.
Oh, yeah.
the first time I had sex was very similar to the first time I ever took a flat back bump in a wrestling ring. Hold on, this is gonna make sense.
Do you have a mask on?
No. But like you figure I've watched all this porn. I'm going to have all these moves. I've studied, right? And then you find out it's like
How
trying
did
to
you
write
study prior? Because,
well, like with sex?
yeah.
Well, I'm saying you watch porn and you figure you've seen this enough times, you're going to be a
But
natural.
I didn't really. I saw.
I didn't really see any hardcore porn until I was in my, like, 20s.
Yeah, but I didn't get
that-
laid.
that guy
and
was-
I didn't have sex till I was like almost 18.
I didn't have the luxury of having a friend who had a 40-year-old friend that would let me watch porno with him.
Yeah, right?
It happened once,
but
but none of that was.
but then the
none of
fir-
that would have been helpful.
Similarly, the first time I ever took a back bump in a ring, I figured I've seen tons of wrestling my whole life,
And you got
and
hurt.
I took that. When I took that bump, I went, and my legs went weak. You know, like when you get in a fist fight, your legs get kind of rubbery.
Yeah.
I
And
thought I was going to throw up. My whole.
so let's back it up a little bit.
And similarly,
Let's go
same
back
thing
a
with
few
sex.
years prior.
Yeah,
Do you remember the first time you held hands with a girl?
when I was like 17 or 18. Yeah.
And how did it go down? Like, is it like you're kind of walking together and your pinkies hit, and then you just kind of
Yeah.
both grab at the same time?
I was like a big, like I said, I
remember.
I didn't even really talk to a girl on the phone until I was like 17 almost.
I remember being in like
True.
7th grade, and I was in Oxford Valley Mall, and I was walking through Sears, and the girl I was walking with, our hands kind of touched,
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful.
and we locked hands.
It's
But
beautiful.
I can't remember who it was. But I remember the hand. Like I remember that first contact, right? That first time you touched, and I like the first time I kissed a girl. Do you remember the first kiss?
Yeah.
Who was the girl?
I remember.
You don't remember who the first girl was for your
Mine
kiss?
was.
Yeah, I
mine
remember who it was, yeah.
Mine was Kim Holt. And
How did it go down?
we were at? Remember Mueller's
I
lived
don't
across from Tarrant Estates.
Yeah.
We were hanging out there, and
Well, how'd it go down? Like, you just all of a sudden, oh, we just kissed.
Well, I think we were like dating forever. One of those. I think we were in 5th or 6th grade.
I remember, like, I didn't kiss a girl. And first time I kissed a girl was 7th grade. Her name was Lynn Mack. We kissed at the movies, and we both had glasses on, and they smacked together. But I remember it was such a terrible experience. Probably because I was really bad at it. It was similar to that first time you're touching a girl in her privates. Like, it was just like weird, right? And I remember going to parties in 9th grade. When like I was first in public school, so it was Catholic school all the way up till 8th grade, and then public school, and I had no idea how to communicate with girls, no nothing. And I remember being at a party.
I wish I could see that, Chris.
And they were playing 7 Minutes in the Closet.
Oh, 7 minutes
Right?
in heaven.
7 Minutes in Heaven.
What's that?
So
Get to go
they
in
basically
it.
spin a bottle, and so it's guys on one side, girls on one side. The bottle spins, and whatever people get picked, you go in the closet for 7 minutes, and you can do whatever, right? And I didn't know anything about anything, so I remember being in such a fucking panic at a party. I pretended I was sleeping, so I wouldn't get picked to go into the closet because I had no freaking clue. Like, you don't remember like how your first kiss went down, or who the girl was?
Yeah, I remember, but I don't think people give a fuck about that.
It's an interesting topic. People, like, we're going to get deeper into this in a second, but we're starting with the baby steps.
I don't want to talk about that shit.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't think people really care about the first time I hooked up with a chick. I don't think they're like...
It's not the first time you hooked up. It's the first time you just kind of, like, you're a kid and you made the kiss.
You kissed her.
You kissed her.
You kissed her.
I wasn't good.
No shit. None of us were good. That's the conversation we're having.
I know.
Ironically, do you know if you're actually good at it now?
No, I don't.
Do you still practice?
It's on my arm.
You practice on the arm test? Remember that?
Yeah. Remember you would make like the little the lips
Hey.
with the hand and go in and
Hey.
lean for the kiss. So you don't remember who the first kiss was, which is fine,
Okay.
right? You don't remember who you held hands with for the first time.
Yeah, I think I do.
Is it the same girl you kissed for the first time?
Probably, yeah.
Why does it have to be so hard to have these
I
conversations?
don't think about these things. I block that kind of shit out.
Why would you block it out?
I don't know, because it's just...
Because it's a good memory?
Yeah, no, I'm...
Do you remember the first girl you had sex with?
Yep.
How did that go down?
Parents were on vacation. I was dating a girl. I thought I would be slick.
Is this at your house or her house?
Mine.
And you invite her over?
Oh, yeah. There was a party going on. My brothers were holding a party.
Okay, and you invite her over knowing that your parents were going away and you were going to go for it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to do it.
Did she know she was going to do it? Was it discussed prior?
No, I probably... Maybe, like, you kind of allude to it. Like, you know...
Have you ever had sex?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, none of these
Are you sure
memories
you're
are like
just rubbing against-
specialty.
you're
Like,
sure
you
you're just
don't hang
rubbing
on
against
to,
the girl's belly or something?
you don't hang on to any memories.
Yeah,
of,
but I'm probably... I don't want to... I mean, I don't like to, like, reveal that kind of stuff.
Oh, my God.
dude,
I
it's
think that
it's
I do remember this.
years
I
later.
played "Fade to Black" by Metallica. I thought that would do it.
while you were making love to her.
Yeah, or I think it was "Fade to Black." It was either "Fade to Black" or
All right.
"Pearl Jam Black" or
So,
something like that. Where you're like, really?
Is the music really loud in your room, so nobody can hear her scream?
Well, it was loud in the house anyway. It wasn't like super loud because I think that's kind of like a...
Is there like she's on her back and she's looking around her room as this goes down and she's remembering
were
what
off.
she saw?
Lights were off.
Okay, but there were is there like rock posters on the walls? Is there a black light anywhere in the room? I feel like there's a black light.
No, I didn't have the black light. I masturbated way too much to ever have a black light in my room.
But the music's pounding and you can hear the people in the party.
that was the only pounding that was going on too.
right.
It
Doors
was-
locked.
it was
You
like-
can hear the people in the party, right?
Yeah,
Are you both drunk?
I didn't drink then.
Okay, so you're in the room with her and like
We're making out all that stuff. And
lights are off before.
Yeah.
So you entered into a dark room or you this is interesting.
Jesus Christ! I mean, we're not. I don't remember that kind of detail. I remember.
How do you not want how do like
I don't remember that kind of stuff.
all right, I'm done trying.
I remember that
I'm done trying tonight.
I remember there was like, when you think back, like really, like Pearl Jam or Metallica. That's the kind of music that you're gonna play. But that's what I had, and it was not long in any way, pun intended. And it was kind of like, one of those things I think all young guys are, where the girl's like, "Oh wow, that was really it." Okay.
Do you think
it was
she was nervous?
probably, I think any of those type of things, like you see so many movies growing up about people getting laid for the first time or graduating high school. Or,
Remember Last American Virgin?
getting a car.
I think of always Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
All those kind of movies. And when it happens to you, you're like, really? Like, that was it? It didn't live up to like the movie type thing you thought it would be. It was just like, it was like writing with your opposite hand for the first time.
Yeah, but actually, when I think of that, like, that's not how it was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was awkward in those.
I remember not even caring what the other person felt. You know,
has that ever changed?
No, but but I don't remember like thinking it should be a special moment or something like that. I think I was just excited that it happened or was happening.
I was excited, but it was kind of like, you know, when you go to a concert, you're like, yeah, I'm at this concert. Let's just get it over with so I can go home and tell people I saw the concert. That was my attitude towards, like, I just want this done and over with so I can say I did it and just have one. You know what I mean?
At what point did you realize you have to get better at it? Like I remember
immediately.
I think it's the first time that you do something other than missionary.
Like doggy style?
Yeah, or just something. Maybe grab the legs, move them up. The first time that's a big step.
Yeah, I wasn't even remotely good at it, and I remember being in a panic the first like couple times, and then getting into a rhythm where like you're both enjoying it, but there's no communication like, hey, do this or do that. It's just kind of you're both feeling your way through it.
Yeah,
right.
It's like blind people without the canes. They're just
well,
we'll navigate this.
And I remember. Not even I never even thought about like, hey, I should get better at this. Probably until I was like in my 20s, like where I put conscious thought into it. Like,
I remember it was very similar to a lot of things. Like the first time, like when I graduated high school, like, oh, you just graduated. I'm like, really? That was it? Same time, like I remember the first time I ever got up on stage and sang a song with a band. It was like,
were you great the first time you sang?
No, I think also it's just one of those things where you have an idea how it's going to be in your head,
right?
And then it plays out. Or like the first time you're ever on a jiu-jitsu mat.
Yeah, I got my ass whooped. I thought I was going to kick some ass.
You're going to kick some ass, and you're like, well, that didn't go down the way I thought it was going to go.
Which is like the sex for the first time. I remember.
I was horrible.
And the reason I'm talking about this, I watched that movie Blockers
with John Cena,
and it's all about three kids that make a sex pact.
It's R-rated, right?
Yeah, it's definitely R-rated.
I hate PG-13.
Definitely R-rated, and it made me think of I don't, without ruining it. There's like three girls. They all have a pact. However it works out. But I remember like there's some special moments. There's some other moments, and it's all across the board.
Yeah.
And I remember like mine being close to one of the kids that's in there, and I'll just throw it. Like he wants to have sex with the girl, and she's like, just put it in, and then she changes her mind, and she's like, how about I just touch it, and she grabs it, and the dude just starts shaking, and he's like, that was the best ever.
Yeah, I remember. I'm trying to think of you try to play it off, but then like you call your friends. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody, and then you tell your friends.
You tell everybody that'll listen.
I don't think I ran like put up a flag telling everybody I did it.
Well, you
I don't think I did it.
You talk to your crew. I think I was the last person in my band at the time that did. Like all the other people in my band were like Lotharios, I guess. They were just getting tons of play.
How did you figure out you need to get better at stuff? Like I think porn's...
I think the look of disappointment on their face.
But I think porn ruined me somewhere in my 20s where I would watch stuff and say, oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. And...
Well, definitely desensitizes you.
Oh, absolutely. But but it doesn't teach you... I don't know. There's not instructional videos.
Did you ever do something you saw in a video and the person was like, the fuck you doing?
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
I was
no comment.
I was slapping.
Right? I've done the slap,
and she's like,
"That never seems to go over very well."
What the fuck you doing? But I'm like, it seems to go great when I'm watching porn.
I remember being close to finishing, and the person was laying down, and I jumped up and finished from standing position, and it was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was just like, I don't know. It seemed like a good idea.
I just remember like the first time you try to do some sex talk, and then you're like, Like you do one of those things like, you like that shit? You fucking like that? And then I remember just driving home telling them, what the fuck was I saying? Like,
dude.
what the fuck?
I remember this one time I hooked up with a girl and I said, I want to eat your puss. And she just said, all right, see you later. That was like the end. And then she told all of my friends that that's how I ruined it.
Oh, man. Well, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember just kind of being a little bit traumatized by it. I'm like,
So it was a good movie?
Yeah. And you know how I think I know that John Cena is becoming a good actor? It's because when I'm watching him in this, I'm not associating him with wrestling in any way.
He's not being John Cena.
Yeah, he's acting.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, you got guys that are non-actors. Like, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. I don't give a fuck what role he is. He's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
but he's
Sean Connery is Sean Connery.
He's playing a comedic role, and same with Rock. Like I don't associate The Rock with wrestling when I'm watching him. I'm like, this guy's an actor.
I love The Rock, but he pretty much plays the same character in every movie.
But if you
well, not
no
all the
he
time.
doesn't.
He was different in Jumanji. I like that.
He also
And he was different in that movie where he's the CIA guy.
yeah, and he's with
Okay, yeah.
Kevin Hart. He's
Yeah.
got a good range.
I loved when Schwarzenegger was the first one to start that shit.
Yeah.
Play against the type.
Yeah.
Like with Kindergarten Cop. And
but John Cena in this, he's got like through the whole movie, he's got shorts on with like the sandals and the shirts tucked in and the
Oh, he's
phone
like-
pouch on the side.
he's like one of you guys,
And
like a yuppie guy.
No, and the girl goes to
The
him.
look on your face was perfect.
And the girl goes to him. She's like, untuck your shirt. He's like, this isn't the kind of shirt you untuck. It's not that kind of shirt. And he's arguing with her. And then he shows up at one point.
Is he a single dad in the movie? Because you don't see
No,
the
no.
mom.
Yeah, he's not. But they're like, we're not cops. And the dude looks at him and he goes, you're the coppiest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. You look like you got your hair cut in the back of a squad car.
Nice.
And he's like, this is a normal haircut. And it turns into a whole thing. But watching it, I'm thinking, I'm like, he's good enough now. Because if you watch his earlier body
got
of work,
chops.
he's got some chops. He was in that movie with Amy Schumer where he was like the
In
boyfriend.
the movie theater.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And so he's very good at
I
comedic
don't like her,
roles.
though.
And he's a big dude.
Yeah, he is.
But you're watching him and like I'm not associating with the wrestling part. Like he's actually a person. You know what I mean? And he's a character. So I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. And that's what kind of wanted me to ask you about your first sexual encounters.
Does it bug you that John Cena is a 16-time world champion? Because
It used to. When he was 15.
That's
it
like
was
Flair's gimmick, though. 16-time world champion.
Yeah, but it bothers me that he's a 15-time loser.
That's true, too.
Yeah, and Flair's 15 times loser.
But you know what they say, knock me down 15 times, I'll get up 16.
There you go. So
And it's perseverance. That's very powerful. Story.
if you could go back to being a kid again, would you go back?
Yeah, just to see like my grandma and some
No,
of my
not to
family
see
members.
anybody, to be back in a certain part of your life, right?
1997.
How old were you in 1997?
21.
Okay, so you would go back to you wouldn't go back to like childhood.
No, I'll go back to 1997.
Any month? Because it sounds like you got a very specific day. you
Let's
wanna
go back
to.
prior to.
Am I right?
When
Is
you're-
there a day?
Let's go back to prior to when you were 21. Would you go back to a certain age under 21? Don't say 19 and 4 quarters.
6th grade, 6th or 7th grade.
And why would you go there?
Well, I moved. That's when my family moved, and it was just really good time. Like that's when I started discovering music and met some people that I still talk to today, and just I think people romanticize that and gold plate that shit, but your body doesn't hurt. Your family's all there. You don't have responsibilities.
There's no worries at all.
Yeah, and I think it's really important.
Do you think
though.
you appreciated being a child when you were going through childhood? I don't think I did.
No, but I mean, I think you appreciate your parents a lot better when you look back at it because,
But you didn't appreciate being a child, right? Did you
Well, I mean,
appreciate being a
there's-
child when you were a child?
I
I
liked
think
it.
people
No,
that,
now you look back and it's a memory and you're like, yeah, I liked it.
I
But
think-
at the time, you're not in the moment. And you're not
I
thinking
think-
about, okay.
I think
it's
up
not
until-
all great.
Up
No.
until I was probably 16, I wanted to be 18. So when I was 11, I wanted to be older.
yeah,
when
I
I was
remember
12, I wanted
always,
to be older.
always wanting to be older and more mature.
Now I'm
and-
46 and I want to be younger.
Yeah,
I think-
you want to go the other way now.
I think people have a tendency to discount experience and age and things you go through.
No, it makes you who you are, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's great being young and you know everything's tight and your body holds up and you're not in pain and your friends around, your family's around. Like
I would go back and
responsibilities.
make a lot of different decisions.
I
Yeah,
think,
but I that's the question. Are you going back knowing what you know now, or are you just reliving this? You'd have to be reliving the same exact thing.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that if I know what I knew now, there's probably
my life would be completely different.
hundreds of different choices.
I think probably the best thing about that time period is you have a tremendous amount of time to dedicate to something that you love without having to worry about like bills and
When did you
shit
start
like
playing music? How old?
I was in my teenage years, probably like junior year of high school.
Right, so you had
I was
time.
late.
That's what you're talking about, time to dedicate to stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite years were, I guess, starting college.
Why?
Because talk about not having.
Did you go away?
I did. So I was able to have my own place. I was able to make my own decisions, which were not good, by the way. But Dad put money in my bank account every week. So I had money for food, and then I had like $25 that I could go to Wendy's every week, and I didn't have to do anything but go to school.
Yeah, that's
What'd you go to school for?
Mathematics.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the topic that I never was good at, and I hated it as a kid. But now I find that it's something that I'm starting to kind of get into, just because, you know, I don't want to have to be like with my kid, like grab a calculator.
dude. The math the kids do now is fucking hard as shit.
I'm actually going back to school.
Where are you going?
I'm going to be.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah,
Is it
college.
University of Phoenix online?
Something similar, but it's called College of America. My job is going to pay for it though, 100%.
And what courses are you going to
And
take?
it's completely online?
Yeah, I'm going to do communications. I'm going to go for a bachelor's in communications.
So,
Now, do they pay?
The whole thing.
Right, but do you have to certain subjects? Like if you want
Yeah.
to go be a teacher,
Yeah,
you're not going to pay for that.
No, it has to be. They only offer like certain courses, but I do want to do the one for communications,
Okay. That's very
what
cool.
are the other courses they offer?
business management, and stuff like that.
Okay.
That I don't find too interesting.
And how long is the course?
I think it depends on how fast you get them done.
No, I mean, what's the expected time?
I don't know.
But you signed up.
Yeah, like they'll ask you. They'll say like, how many hours a day do you or a week do you think you can dedicate to this? And you know, I said like 5
Well,
to
you
10.
spend a lot of time where you're like, you surprise me when you're well read on stuff sometimes. So you're pulling the time out of somewhere.
Yeah,
So
I'm
gonna
good with- I'm
assume
good-
that you're probably going to put a few hours in a week.
I'm good with I'm good with goal. I'm goal oriented.
And what is it? College?
Of America.
That's in America, right?
Yeah, I think it's the University of Southern New Hampshire, but they call it like the College of America.
Okay.
The bottom line is this: like the guy came out and
Southern
spoke
New
to us.
Hampshire University.
Yeah, a guy came out to our job and was like, he basically was like, look, you guys are fucking idiots if you don't take advantage of it. Your job is going
This
to
is the HR guy?
Yeah, he sounded like he was from Wakanda.
Now, do you have to pay up front and then you get the money back?
No,
Then you
Was
you
he
got to take
from
advantage of that.
Was this guy from the University of America?
no, he was the HR guy, or one of our HR guys. But he was essentially saying like, look, you guys are dickheads if you don't take advantage.
Do
of
you
this.
get a school jacket with a varsity letter?
No. I just want the goddamn degree because then I can move up in the company or find something.
What's your goal to move up to?
My goal is to do something with radio because all these radio gigs, they want communication degrees.
Which is weird because you can go to college and get a degree in communications, but they can't. You can't teach somebody to be a good communicator.
But I guess on the lines of that though is when you go for that type of degree, it's not all about being the guy talking as well.
Right, but
It's
Yeah,
about
they're going to
doing
have you
but
behind
things
the
behind
scenes
the scenes.
stuff.
But
and-
your interest is not a behind the scenes kind of thing. It's
My interest is to take advantage of this opportunity to better myself, to have more tools, more options.
But I guess his question is it do you want to be the voice or do you want to be the guy who works at
Whatever
place.
whatever pays more.
we're not let's say they're equal. Chris, am I pulling teeth?
No, you're not pulling teeth. You asked me and I answered it.
No, but I don't want it to be about money. If you could be the guy talking versus the guy behind the scenes, which one do you want to be?
you want the glory or you want to be the guts?
Well, I got enough guts, so I'll take the glory.
So you want to be the guy out front, not necessarily on camera, but the guy talking and entertaining.
That's fine. Yeah, I find that easy for me to do. But I think also if it's the pay's equal, then yeah, I'll talk. But if it's not equal, they're going to pay me more to be behind the scenes. Fuck yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, I already have enough interests that I can do if I need the ego stroke. I could play with my bands. I could do a solo show. I've got this. I don't need to be the guy. Some people need to be that guy.
Who do you know that needs to be the guy? And he did like, if you could rewind that, he made this weird face when he said it, and it was very subtle. You did this. You went.
The camera's on the guy. He just needs the time right now.
No, and I'm not. And I'm not saying that about. I'm not saying that about you, but we all know.
But he did this weird thing. He goes like this.
I wasn't talking about you.
No,
actually.
but you said it, and you kind of did this with your head. It was real subtle. You went.
Mm-hmm. You did.
It was subliminal then. It was subconscious. No, but if especially now, like even like with I'm one of my bands I'm playing with, I'm a sayer, I'm just playing bass. And they said, "Look, do you want to do some backups?" And I said, "Sure, I don't have anything against it, but it's not like I feel a need to do." You know what I mean? Like if you've got more than one creative outlet, you don't feel like I have to I have to force this viewpoint in, or I have to have this kind of creative thing because I've got more than one outlet.
What outlet, creativity-wise, would you say you would like to approach? Not music, not podcasting. What other creativity outlet would you use? Like would you like
painting?
Would you like to be an artist?
Well, I was a fine arts major, so I mean, I find fun in that. What killed that for me was just the community, the type of jobs, and just it's very cutthroat and very phony, and I just don't like that shit. But I do find joy in drawing stuff. I like drawing with my son and doing that.
How about the acting you would do on the mat?
What's that? The pro wrestling?
Yeah.
I found, what was fun with that was...
It's called macting.
You're right. That was fun because it was just something that I always liked the performance of it.
See, I think you would be a fucking awesome wrestling manager right now.
But they don't... The wrestling managers, that's kind of like a lost art.
Yeah,
There
and
are
you're
many
one of
of
the
them.
guys that appreciates the
I
art,
could
so
do it.
why wouldn't you fucking even try it?
I could get some like cheap heat. Just be like, let me tell you something.
Why wouldn't you try that?
How hard is that to do nowadays?
Like you got a personality that you could let it out when you really want to.
Well, I'm a natural heel.
Right,
I mean, I could be a definite
but you
bad guy.
understand the process of what the manager's role would be, right? Because if you look at wrestling, and I don't watch a lot of wrestling anymore, but when I do watch it, I don't see a lot of managers, and I don't see a lot of guys that are good at rocking the mic, like the Road Warriors manager,
Paul
Ellering, who managed Midnight Express, Jim Cornette
has his own podcast. Two of them.
You don't see guys like Jimmy Hart,
Mouth of the South,
right? But
Bobby Heenan, the best of all time.
You don't see a lot of guys that have that. You don't see the Lou Albanos. You don't see the classy Freddie Blassies.
Yeah,
like there's not. You don't see.
I think Paul Heyman's the only one really now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
and you don't see who was the Undertaker's guy.
Paul Bear.
My Undertaker.
Rest his soul.
Has anybody got tissues? I gotta blow my nose. It's fucking driving me crazy. Thank you, sir.
But why wouldn't you
I would do it.
But it doesn't come to you. That's what I'm saying. It's not something that's just going to show up on your doorstep and say, "Hey, you need to be a manager." Like, why wouldn't you go out and try to do that right now?
Hours in the day, and it would take. I mean,
but how many hours a day do you need? Like, you just need
Well, I guess you're gonna have to go away,
right? But those shows are going to be on the
wouldn't.
weekend. Like, if you're going to start locally, right?
There was a time that I was really looking into it, but honestly, right now, between work, being in two bands, practicing music for my own stuff.
If you had the opportunity, would you give up being in one of the bands?
No, because I find it too satisfying. It's just fun.
But I think you would find satisfaction in being
maybe.
the
I mean,
manager.
look. I mean, I'm not going to close it off. I mean, But
you're not going. If you're not going to chase it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Is there enough local stuff that could keep you busy during the week? I mean,
It would be.
once a
It would
week
be. It would be
Yeah.
like a weekend thing.
No, I mean,
That's what I mean. When you have to travel on the weekends,
I'll look into it.
Promise?
And then we'll document it on the podcast. And then if anything ever happens, we'll look back to this time and we'll be like, I owe my
you're like-
WWE contract to you guys.
Like
No,
we,
to him.
Like, but no, hold on. Like, we do the Extreme Cage Combat,
yeah,
right? Why wouldn't you want to be an announcer for some wrestling?
I've already looked into that as well. And I actually talked to Tommy Dreamer about it.
And what did Tommy say?
Tommy Dreamer?
Yeah.
What did Tommy say?
He didn't reply to the email.
It was a one-way conversation. We're Instagram friends. I just follow him. But I think you would be good at both of those, and it's something you would enjoy. And if you could make a living at that and not do what you do now, would you do it?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think right now, though, I think
that's gonna be my new goal.
Let me ask you: do you think you can make a living off of being? I
think you could.
A manager at a
my goal
local.
No,
I think you would quickly escalate up to a higher level.
My first goal in anything like that is, would it be fun? Would I enjoy it?
I think you would.
Because I think
you would love it.
That would be the first thing.
You don't think you would love it?
No, I probably would, but there's. I don't know. I'm going to look into it.
To everything.
Yeah, of course. I think for me right now, my plate's pretty damn full with all this stuff, but I will look into it. And I'm going to need a new gimmick name. We'll have to come up with a gimmick name for me.
You could be
Deadfoot.
Deadfoot.
No, because being a manager is you're there to get the other guy over. It's not about you.
Right, but you would be able to rock the mic better than the guys that are wrestling, like a Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
and
I'll get that crowd.
I think, but those guys would gravitate towards you because they're like, I'm not good at rocking the mic. I need this guy who can do it for me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's cool for whatever reason. I don't know why WWE really doesn't do managers anymore.
It's probably because it's a lost art. It might be a lack of guys that have the ability. When you watch your local stuff, right, or Ring of Honor and all that other stuff,
yeah,
is there a lot of managers in those?
There used to be. They had a couple.
And why isn't there? Because it's a lost art.
I'm trying to think of any current. I know in WWE you got Paul Heyman. He'll tell you he's an advocate, but that's a manager.
Right, you might have escorts that bring people to the ring or
they don't even
whatever.
They don't even do that shit anymore because the women, the whole women power movement and all that shit.
But if you look at all of them, like they don't have managers.
I'm trying to think. I can't think.
And why don't we have them in like the UFC? That would be cool to have.
Holy shit! Well, the UFC's never going to do that because they want to have total control.
Right, but who's the guy who used to manage Anderson Silva? What the hell's that guy?
Oh, God.
Sylvia.
No. Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, but
Ed
Suarez.
Ed Suarez.
But he was pretty outspoken when talking about stuff. So he's clearly a manager that you know. Like, how many other guys that you know about as far as management? So back to the Ring of Honor, back to these other ones.
I would do it.
You got a lot of guys that... It's already up top, by the way.
All right.
But you got a lot of guys that could use it and could benefit from it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could be a good guy manager.
I think you could be a good manager.
I think you'd be a good girl manager.
But there's a fine line. Like if you look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, he didn't have a manager, but he rode both sides of the line.
Well, he had a manager at various points in his career.
Right. But what I'm saying is you got a lot of these guys that can ride either side of that line. As far as like their ability in the ring and how the fans like them,
yeah,
and they could be like fan favorite and still be a complete dick in the ring.
Well, I think
like Precious Paul Ellering was probably one of the best.
He he was with another tag team for a little bit in WWE with but they released him for whatever reason. I don't know. I would definitely do it.
Who was the guy that managed the Four Horsemen?
That was James J.J. Dillon.
Okay.
Yeah, he's real cool. I like his podcast
Out of
a lot.
all the guys I mentioned, Jimmy Hart.
Bobby Heenan was the best.
Hold on. Bobby Heenan. Classy Freddie Blassie.
Yeah.
Captain Lou Albano.
Yep. Grand Wizard, remember him?
Grand Wizard. Paul Bearer. Who were some of the other ones I mentioned? Jimmy Hart.
Brother Love.
Brother Love, which was Paul Bearer, wasn't it?
No, that was Bruce Pritchard.
Okay.
Two-time
Tom Pritchard's brother?
Yeah.
And then out of all those guys, which guy is you?
Ooh.
Probably a cross between Bobby Heenan and Jim Cornette, just because they cast such a huge shadow. Anybody who's ever, it's kind of like
Jim Cornette was one of the best.
His podcast is amazing. You need to listen to his.
Right, but he was so outspoken, like when he's talking about his guys, and he's the guy with the tennis racket, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And a good manager, they'll kind of give the rub, like if this guy's associated with him, he must be a somebody because he has this guy as a manager.
Right. So
know?
so here's what I picture for you.
Have like a family,
Right.
The Honeycutt family.
We've-
Remember like the Heenan family, the Honeycutt family.
You get your cowboy hat,
That's right.
right? Cowboy boots.
Dick Leathers. That's my gimmick name.
Dick Leathers, right? And-
Dick Leathers.
But it's an all black cowboy outfit with a bolero.
Yeah,
right.
The bolo tie thing.
And you grow your beard back.
Yeah.
Right. So you're a little rough around the edges. You get the cowboy hat,
Yeah.
and you get 4 or 5 guys in your crew.
Yeah.
But they're all guys that wrestle, not in the regular wrestling boots, but the cowboy wrestling boots, like
Yeah.
Barry Windham used to wear, and some of these other guys.
Dusty Rhodes.
And that's your crew.
Yeah, that'd be a good time. And then we cut like fucking heel promos on people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just like a crew of guys that are just ready to go out there.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, and you lead them, and you start them talking, and then
right.
you manage them, and then you're also the guy at the side of the ring because you have your cane.
Yeah.
Guy bounce off the rope.
Fucking crack him
you
with it.
hook, no, you hook the foot.
Oh,
Or you hit
yeah.
him in the lower back.
Yeah. Todd Perry, let me tell you something, you piece of garbage. And you take this to the bank.
I think we're on to something.
That would be awesome. Man, that would be fucking great. I'll start cashing checks and fucking breaking necks.
Where did I see that today?
That'd be fucking great.
I saw somebody had that posted that same statement today. Was there
I thought it was cash and oh God.
cash and checks and
Jackson
breaking
taking
necks?
names, taking names.
No, cash and checks and breaking
breaking
necks.
necks, yeah.
Did there was UFC on last weekend, wasn't there?
There was.
There was.
That was that Dustin Poirier last weekend?
Yeah, no. Last weekend was Edson Barboza versus Keith Lee.
Oh, Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee. Yeah, and
I
he
thought-
did the stanky leg.
Oh,
Credit
dude.
to him, man.
I thought Edson Barboza was going to take it right there, and he
Yeah.
just didn't even capitalize.
I don't
on
know why the fuck he tried to grab a hold of him. He
Yeah.
should have just teed off.
He was.
He should have just kept doing those spinning kicks until
He had him so lit up after that kick
Yeah.
that
He had him lit up like a Christmas tree, but Christmas got canceled soon after. I'm not a Kevin Lee fan. I really think he just talks too much
you see his
bullshit.
belly button. He's got something weird going on with it. Looks
Nah.
like a clit.
I don't know.
that's what we were during the fight. We're like
we were.
somebody put ice on that.
We were fixated on it. It's weird. It sticks out and kind of hooks down.
He really did show though. I mean, look, all the shit talking aside, there's not
There's
a lot.
a reason he should be there.
There's not a lot of guys that would have survived that. And Frankie Edgar proved everybody wrong. He's gonna end the year with a win.
Yeah, he had a tough
Quick-
time over the last couple months too. Like
Yeah,
he
his
lost
his dad.
Well, he lost his grandfather too.
Yeah.
lost his dad like a week or two later, and
And then got knocked out for the first time.
he got knocked out for the first time. And I think he also said one of his managers passed away or something like that, right?
But no, that was I think that was Cubs.
Oh,
but
okay.
dude, talk about a guy who
He's been
that's
fighting-
not what I was so
Yo,
I've never been scared for a guy
10
fighting.
years. 10
And
years.
I was.
He's been in the UFC for 10 years. He's been fighting top-level competition for a decade.
I'm a Cub Swanson fan too, though. Like
I'm
Cub's
not.
pretty fucking tough.
He's great. He's a great fighter, but I'm not like. I remember him. The thing I remember him about the most is when Jens Pulver knocked him out, flattened him. Remember that?
Really?
Yeah,
Knocked out
WC.
who?
Cub Swanson, WC. But he's definitely a great fighter. He's right there.
Who else was on the card? Who was the co-main event?
Jim Miller got knocked out by Dan Hooker. That was,
Cold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wasn't happy to see that.
The
Aljamain Sterling fight was good.
he called out Dominic Cruz. If Cruz can be healthy, I think Cruz would murder him.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The David Branch, Thiago Santos fight was a good one.
Nick Newell is going to be fighting on the Dana White Contender Series.
The next pay-per-view
Did
is
you hear-
not too bad.
Nick Newell.
That's the guy with the
Like
missing the
stump.
arm.
Yeah. Now,
And he's on the next contender series?
yeah.
I think that guy you don't put in the contender series. You put him just right in for fights.
Now, here's the thing you got to remember. It's a very dangerous thing for the UFC to have him in there, and I'm going to tell you why. The hardcore fans, they all know who this guy is, and they want him to succeed, and it's a tremendous inspirational story. However, the average fan, it's going to look really bad to see a guy with one fucking arm or one hand.
If you ever watch him fight, like if he's throwing this arm,
But that's what he's talking about.
I know.
A real fan,
right? But
knows
he's
who he
he's
is.
only throwing elbows. Like,
Yeah, but
everything's an elbow.
The average fan still, there's the stigma of seeing someone prone on the ground getting punched or kicked.
Right.
It's just to the average person, they're like, "What the fuck is this? Like a mugging?" you're going to take that same guy, because you got to remember, MMA fans, there's like, compared to other sports, it's a very small fan base, right?
But he gets some weird submissions too, like where
does.
he's sneaking that.
But if they're
part of his in,
flipping through the fucking channels and they see a guy with one fucking hand getting his ass kicked, did you see the Gaethje fight he had?
Yeah.
Not a good look.
Did you see? Did you ever
Not good
see?
look.
Did you
Not
ever
good look at
see-
all.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's actually an MMA fighter as well, where he's got no arms and no legs, and he's coming running across, and he's still winning.
How does he run across if he's got no legs?
He's got the stumps, right at the knees and right at the elbows.
How is he beating anybody?
I'll show you the videos. He's actually really good too, and he's I think a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Sure he is.
Okay. Trust me, I'll show it to you. He's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Well,
what is his name? What's his name? Like the starfish?
Oh Jesus!
No, he's only got 4 limbs.
Jesus.
Starfish has 5.
What
Yeah,
do they
with
call-
with the head.
I guess you can.
The head.
His name's Patrick.
Patrick Starfish. I'm going to hell for that.
But the next fight card is actually pretty good.
We got Bellator. You got this weekend is going to be Mir against
Oh shit! Is that tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Mir and Fedor.
All right, I guess I'm watching that tomorrow night. We have a wedding on Saturday, so I'm glad it's tomorrow night. But next week's UFC card, you have Belfort versus Machida.
I think it's 2 weeks.
The
Well,
12th.
Go
Yeah,
to
the
go
12th.
go to the Bellator card. Who else is on that? Because they're going all in with this heavyweight.
They're not going in all
Crow
shit, dude.
Cop and Big Country as well.
on tomorrow night's card.
I think so. And they're
Well, why would they have to fight already?
Yeah,
and they haven't even done the rest of the first round.
Yeah, Mir
because
didn't fight it.
they're alternates.
This is Mir and
but
Fedor's first
the
fight.
Crow Cop and Nelson fight is going to be the winner is going to be an alternate in the tournament. They're not in the tournament.
Oh, that's right.
How did Crow Cop get out?
They both lost.
Crow Cop was never in it.
So yeah, but Big Country lost.
Yeah,
So why? That's stupid.
Because
That's stupid.
because they spent a lot of money on him and they want him on the fucking.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something.
They want to maximize his fucking, his star power, his name. Who's on that card?
But I'm excited for
You
Mir.
want me to go through them?
Yeah,
Let's start at the feet.
Yeah, start at the feet.
There's really it's just toes.
It's all toes.
Dylan Dennis versus Kyle Walker.
Dylan Dennis is Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach, the guy who's in every video with him and is starting to act like him.
Well, they better not be allowed backstage at that fucking.
And who's
event.
he fighting?
So he's got a 0-0-0 record.
Okay.
Yeah, he's never had a pro fight before,
All right.
but he's highly respected in the.
Versus
Look at
that-
Wilson. Wilson went right to pro,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't on live TV
He's friends with Conor. They're gonna
All right.
put him. They're gonna bump him up right away.
versus Kyle Walker, who's 2-4.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's expected to win that.
Yeah, they're gonna feed him a couple people, which is what they should do.
Gerard Harris versus
Gerald Harris. He's a
versus
UFC vet.
Rafael Lovato Jr.
That's a good fight.
That Rafael Lovato Jr. is fucking awesome. Another guy who's coming from jiu-jitsu, and I think he's undefeated.
He is 7-0, Chris.
Yeah, he is amazing, and his hands are good. I think his last fight was by knockout.
Yeah.
So I'll watch. That's a good card.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bull might be speaking the truth.
Neiman Gracie versus Javier Tura.
A lot of jiu-jitsu guys on
Yeah.
this card. I don't
Gracie
know.
is 7-0 as well.
And who's the other? What's the record for the other guy?
10-3.
That's not a bad record.
I'm gonna go with
I'm gonna go
Gracie.
This is actually the best card they've had in God knows how long.
Yeah, and Todd was insulting you a moment
I
ago.
know.
He came at you very hard,
You fucking asshole.
aggressive.
Emmanuel Sanchez versus Sam Cecilia.
There you go, Sam Cecilia,
Where's
former
Sam-
training partner of
He's a-
Wilson's.
And he was a UFC guy.
Yeah, what weight class is he?
I think 185 or 170.
Featherweight.
Really?
Okay,
I was wrong. Fuck me.
but I know the name.
And then no names for the main card.
Give us the main card.
Fedor.
Start at the main part of the main card.
No, this is they don't do they just gave you those 5 fights.
Okay, and then
It's
this is the main
it's
event.
Fedor versus Frank Mir.
Okay, so the Kirkhoff fight's on a different card then.
But that's a good card. The whole card.
Who do you think takes it? Frank Mir or
I think
Fedor?
Mir submits him. I think Mir breaks something.
I don't know, man.
I think Mir snaps him with a shoulder lock.
I gotta be honest. The thing about Mir too is that he's got deceptive power.
His hands aren't bad.
And I think that Fedor's chin is definitely not what it once used
I would
to be.
love to. I would
He's
love
a
to see
bigger dude too.
I would
He
love to
is.
see
Much
the
bigger
best
dude.
of
Much
both
bigger.
worlds, where Frank catches him, puts him down, and then puts him into something.
I
he does
think Frank
both.
takes
He
this.
does both.
I don't think
Because
that.
Fedor's a fat 235.
I don't think Fedor I don't think Fedor is going to submit Mir.
No.
I think if Fedor tries to go for a submission, it could turn around and he could get. I mean, that's what happened to Nog.
Yeah.
Nog had the fight won, and stupidly, remember that he had him almost knocked out, and he went for the arm to prove a point, and that's when Mir, cleared the cobwebs, got out of it, reversed it, and broke his Nog's arm.
I got Mir by.
That was disgusting too. You remember that?
I got Mir with a Kimura.
Has there ever
breaking the shoulder?
Has there ever been a guy? Can you think of a guy like a high level, big profile guy that not submissions, but I'm talking has broken more bones? Tim Sylvia, Big Nog. God, there's got to be other people.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but those, I mean, the Tim Sylvia one, man, I still to that day, that was so awesome.
Sylvia just
and he was like,
didn't even want to admit
fine.
that shit was broken.
I'm good, man.
Yeah, he apologized.
And
to
everybody
Tarantino.
was booing, and then all of a sudden they kept showing the replay, and then you see pop, pop.
Remember the good old days when you actually even knew the referees? There was only like four
I
referees.
still recognize most of them at this point, though.
Yeah, but now it's like,
But I have Mir all day long. Like
it only takes one punch though.
Fedor's what, 6'1"?
Fedor, he's still got a pop.
Fat 235.
Yeah, but he hits hard.
No, I know. And then Mir's what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah.
And he's dieting down to 265. And he does a lot of strength training now.
I think that was one of the problems though with Mir though. They thought that
Do you think his career would be different if he never had that motorcycle accident?
I think also his career would have been different if there was never a Brock Lesnar. Because
Lesnar just held him down.
Well, no, what I mean is like
he beat him up.
He could have raped him if he wanted to.
No, but what I mean is like Lesnar, when Lesnar was on the scene, people mistakenly thought that it was that ushered in the era of the super heavyweight guys dieting down hard to make 265, and then you had Cain Velasquez. I mean, Mir was like 230, 240, and then he was just fucking gigantic at that UFC. Was it 100? When it was Mir versus Lesnar, I mean, he was fucking huge. He was actually bigger than Lesnar. And then Cain Velasquez, give him credit, he kind of was like, no, fuck that. And now heavyweights are 230, 240 now again. You still got a couple of big guys, but you don't see guys having to cut.
Has Velasquez ever fought Mir?
No.
How do you think that one would go down?
In their primes?
Yeah.
I think Mir would murder him.
I think Mir would murder him as well.
Yeah, I think Cain Velasquez was a guy that he.
Who's the guy in
good hands?
Who's the guy
good
in your
wrestler,
mind in the
great
prime?
cardio.
In their prime, that no one would ever beat them in the heavyweights.
In their prime?
Yeah,
Mark Kerr.
that's a good call.
Like juice to the tits, Mark Kerr.
Kerr versus Coleman.
Kerr, if he was serious, training, not injured, juice to the tits. Yeah,
Kerr versus Randleman.
Kerr.
Kerr versus Couture.
Kerr.
Kerr versus
Don't even say Lesnar.
Mir.
I mean, like, yeah, because Mir is like kind of
Mir
like
was a murderer.
He's kind of like Kerr,
Scary dude.
Kerr 2.0. I mean, he didn't have the wrestling credentials, but he had the size. He moved around like a guy half his size. He had ridiculously good jiu-jitsu too, and I think Mir's jiu-jitsu kind of plays right into Kerr's strength, which is he's really good off of his back,
Let's get our time machine out, right? So that Kerr or Mir is your pick for all-time best in 205. That nobody beats them at their prime.
I would say the potential. They had the potential to be the best.
Who's the one? Number one
of
Kerr?
all time?
Kerr. Is that what you're saying?
We're talking. Are we talking the best heavyweight fighter of all time,
We
or
take
just
all of them at
credentials?
Once, all of them at once, and there's no time frame, but they're at their prime, and we put them in the same division.
Fedor. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I never.
He's never done anything outside of Pride, though.
Yeah, but you got to also remember, by the time that he got out of Pride,
He was 32.
He was older than that. He was older than that.
But he was not fighting the best guys at that time.
He fought the guys. The thing about
Couture at his prime was 10 years older
Fedor,
than Fedor at his prime.
Fedor would have murdered Couture if they would have fought in their primes.
How about Arlovsky at his prime?
He did fight Arlovsky.
No, I'm just talking about. I'm asking you about Arlovsky in his prime. Where does he even wind up in there?
He's good, but I don't think
when he was snagging people's
He was
legs.
scary.
Yeah.
205. best of all, best. And we're not going to go off records. Like, just dude that would have been the murderer of all murderers in that division.
Jones.
Not Liddell.
No, because I think
Liddell in his prime was a scary dude. Nobody could.
he
fucking hurt him.
was, but I think a large part of Liddell was kind of like Sonny Liston, the mystique.
That was what it was with Fedor.
Part of it, but I think
And
Fedor.
Jose Aldo,
But I think Fedor's strength.
Ronda.
I think the strongest part of Fedor's game was his ability to adapt. I mean, you could see him. I mean, Couture did. I mean, Liddell didn't. Liddell did the same thing. Come straight forward, overhand right, sprawl and brawl.
Yeah, but
didn't matter who
you
it
know how many
was.
knockouts Liddell has going backwards?
Yeah.
Too, though?
How many?
But that's natural gifts. But what I'm saying
But
is,
how many
is that,
submissions does John Jones have? Like very few. Like
Yeah, how many, they're all most of them are decisions.
But what I
Yeah.
mean is, going back to Fedor first, Fedor's strength, what most impressed me about him was he's a guy that would adapt. He's a guy that in the middle of a fight would start, go to a different game plan or adapt to that fighter.
Even
And
the
he took
Arlovsky
it-
fight, he was
and-
getting his ass kicked,
and-
Arlovsky tried a Superman punch.
Yeah,
and
but-
got caught midair.
But he's a
yeah,
guy
they crumple him. That was the
he's-
best. That was the affliction.
He's
card.
a guy that at their best, he took Nog down and beat him at his own game. He went to the ground.
Did he
and-
submit Nog?
No, but I'm saying he was in his guard and did all of that ground and pound from inside Nog's guard. When everyone's like,
Who slammed him on his
don't
head?
that was Bob Sapp.
Okay.
But then when he fought Crow Cop, he had Crow Cop shooting for double legs. He took it to Crow Cop on the feet.
Wrestling.
But you know what I mean? So as far as Liddell and Jones has that natural reach that I think would have been able to keep Liddell apart, get Liddell desperate.
Was
and I think he would have knocked him out.
Belfort a 205er at one time?
Yeah, he was a champion, 205.
Did you put Belfort back in the mix at his prime at 205, like when he was like 22 years old?
No, I would have put him in his last run when he was TRT Tour.
No, when he first was coming up,
And he's just running
He
dudes
was-
down with like 20 punches.
When he was that young,
he was huge.
he was juiced to the tits, and he didn't even have half the fucking tools that he did in that last run when he was on TRT. He had kicks, knees,
but there
submissions,
was,
everything.
I'm sorry, when he first, there was nobody that had hands like him. That was he was
fearless.
insane.
Yeah, and when he was juiced to the tits, Randy Couture spanked that ass. Spanked it. Because he didn't have other fucking tools.
So
His last one when he was kicking people.
Let's take Liddell and Jones out. Like besides Belfort, like who else was like a great 205er?
Tito had a run.
Tito did have a run, but he's not comparable to those other two.
No, well, I think that's politics as part of it.
No. Skill wise, he's not on the same level as the other two.
I think Rampage was a problem for people in his prime. You just slam dudes, had great boxing,
Okay, so
I'm not even the biggest Rampage fan, but
what other champions were there in 205?
Is
Besides
Henderson in that group? Dan?
Anderson fought at 205, but he didn't really hold any belts. at 205.
Hendo was a 205er in Pride for a little bit.
I would say for a little bit, yeah. Hendo would definitely be up there as well. I think the only title that he didn't get was the UFC title.
Right, that's the one he
was a
fought Rampage for.
He was a tournament champion, but
So
because again, you got the wrestling pedigree, good chin, hits like a fucking tank.
how about
185, Anderson.
who's the guy that died in the desert?
Evan Tanner.
Yeah,
Evan
he was a
Tan-
185, right?
He was a champion.
But he was
He was a good fighter, but he wasn't great.
yeah.
But at his prime, I guess he was above everybody at the time. Rich Franklin. I mean, yeah,
He was a
can't
guy
throw him
that
in there.
he taught himself how to fight through VHS tapes.
Who, Rich?
He should have done that for hiking.
No, Evan Tanner. He learned when he was in the UFC. That was back in the day when you get the Black Belt magazine, you see all the ads in the back. And
Yeah.
Waleed Ishmael had like an 8 VHS set.
Yeah.
And you remember this? So you'd get like the one DVD or the VHS, and it would all be like on side mount, and it would be like all these different setups and shit.
I have a bunch of those.
Yeah. So he bought a bunch of them because after the first 4 UFCs, it's not like now where you have a jiu-jitsu school in every other corner.
So
he ordered
185,
them.
you have him. You have
And now I have Anderson.
you have Anderson.
That's
Did the
pretty
Liddell
easy.
fight at 185 ever?
No,
Vanderlei.
Vanderlei was
Vanderlei
205.
was but he really the whole time.
For
I don't think-
most of his career. He
How
was
about
205.
Shogun Hua?
Shogun was 205.
Anderson.
Okay.
I think Anderson at 185 was kind of all by himself.
Yeah, until he got complacent and went everything else.
How about so as far as champions at 185? I mean, Anderson's the clear guy.
Yeah.
Right. As far as at their prime, just destroying dudes
Yeah,
because nobody could touch him. But who was the closest second? right?
Fuck, I don't know.
T-Wood?
Fuck. T Wood's 170.
Yeah, T Wood's 170. Yeah, who's the current 185er? It's not Luke Rowe.
The Robert Whitaker.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't lace his fucking shoes.
Yeah, there's too many guys right now, like the interim champions and whatever.
Yeah.
So 170, GSP, ever? It has to be.
I would say either him or Hughes. Just the dominant fashion in Hughes, how he won, how he dispatched people.
But I think
As an all-around fighter, I would say
George is up there with Anderson in that he was. There's somebody, and Jones.
I would
There's
also
something special
at 185.
He could do things.
You know
that,
who else I would say 185 would
and
be?
you know what the best was?
Frank Shamrock.
When he lost, he would come back and he would beat the shit out of the guy.
Well,
who beat
GSP's
him.
only got like two losses, right?
right?
Yeah.
He avenged him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say 185 would also be Frank Shamrock.
Yeah.
Even though he fought at 205, he was really 185.
So Shamrock in his prime versus
Frank Shamrock
versus Anderson in his prime.
I would love to see Frank Shamrock versus GSP because I think GSP was just a Frank Shamrock 2.0.
But Shamrock versus Anderson prime.
God, that would be great. I think
I think Shamrock.
No, I don't. But you're comparing, like Frank at that point,
Frank.
or Ken. Are we talking about Frank or Ken?
I said Frank.
Frank, but at that time, was very special. But with the amount of talent now, I don't think he shows up very high.
Maybe not.
I do.
I think George St. Pierre has probably so many tools in his shed.
Yeah, but
that
it's-
Frank has never would have
But
seen.
if there was
before in
never,
his
if there would have
life.
never have been a Frank Shamrock, there never would have been a GSP.
Probably because
Is
he
he
was the
his
first
dad?
one. No, he was the first one coordinating.
It's just
the
like
various.
it's like
styles.
music. Like you'll listen to certain bands.
But GSP is the first guy
that
who
he built upon that.
GSP is the first guy to train multiple styles and then piece them together himself.
Wrong. Frank Shamrock was. Frank Shamrock had the alliance with Maurice Smith, who was a K1 champion kickboxer.
Right.
He had TK, who was the judo and submission guy. He was, they put all of that together: the wrestling, the boxing, the kickboxing, the submissions.
They put
everything.
it together, but GSP's the guy who coordinates all his stuff on his own.
GSP was one of the first guys to come into the sport, training all of them.
Okay.
Frank Shamrock was the guy that came from that shoot fighting pancration style, and then add the,
How about one?
That's why I mean Frank Shamrock. And then GSP build upon that.
Let's do one more. 155.
At best ever.
Best. That's like you take him from any time frame. Nobody stops him. At their prime.
I would love to say BJ, but
At their prime.
He's so inconsistent.
Now, when I say you're taking them at their prime, you're not taking into account any of their losses after their prime.
I would say
where their career changed. Like they were the best. They had their mystique.
At BJ,
that was it.
BJ Penn at his best. I don't think there's a guy that
Who's second? Was Pulver 155?
And BJ was pretty special in that he fought in all types of weight classes.
I mean, but he had hands. You couldn't take him down. He had ridiculous submissions, flexibility. Second best 155er.
Jose? Is it Jose 155? He's 145.
Yeah.
Who was the champion 155 for a while? Dominic?
No, that's 135. Who are you?
Damn it. Who's 155? Like
Who's held the belt the longest?
Well, Sean Shirk had it.
Muscle
Jens
Shark?
Pulver had it.
Chance Pulver. Who's the current
Oh,
champion?
Frankie. Frankie had it for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Frankie's probably the best out of all those guys.
No, I think BJ would beat him in his
At their prime.
Yeah.
At their prime, I think fucking
If he
Edgar
wasn't on his toes
beats the-
like this.
Yeah.
Remember
No, you
that?
know
what?
Next
what?
straight
How
up.
the fuck was that?
I think I would agree with Chris. I think Frankie would be a nightmare for BJ.
Well, they fought
His-
twice.
Well, what about Connor? 155.
I think his legacy.
Or is
still
he
has to
true
play
one?
out.
He's a
He has to
140.
play out.
Most of his fights were 145, right?
A lot of them, but now he's at 155. But, I mean, for him, it's so hard to separate the bullshit, especially now.
All right, one more. 145. Jose?
Jose.
Yeah. Or Connor?
No. He never defended the title.
You go Jose then.
Yeah.
Who's the next closest guy?
145. Faber.
Yeah, Faber was pretty fucking awesome.
Faber had that belt for a long time in WEC and kind of carried. He was kind of the
I
guy.
miss the
literally.
WEC.
So do I.
I love the W.
Smaller buildings.
Who was the guy that had the stars on his shoulders?
I knew you were talking about
I always
the
got
Rhino.
mixed up with
The Rhino.
there are two of the guys.
Brian Stan knocked him out and took his title.
No, different weight class. He was like a 145 or something. He broke his ankle in one of the fights and kept fighting, and he was kind of hopping around.
Miguel Torres?
No, Miguel Torres was a. You put that dude in the mix. He was what 135,
135.
Who's the guy I'm thinking of?
At his prime. I think Miguel Torres might be the fucking guy that
was good.
fucking the champ.
The guy that's part of the Diaz crew.
Gilbert Melendez?
No.
Jake Shields.
Jake Shields. He kind of reminds you of Jake Shields. But
Yeah,
he's
they
got
have a similar look.
but he's got those 2 stars on either one of his, right above his biceps.
I don't
Or his
remember.
chest.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is, but I remember Torres. Let's go back to him for a second. That dude was like 35-0. Like nobody even was close to touching that dude.
I think Eddie was another guy at 155. I think Chandler.
How much was Torres?
135.
So Torres at his prime versus Dominic at his time.
That'd be a good fucking
That would be a
fight.
fucking awesome
Both
fight.
are tall. Both have good boxing, good submissions.
That would have been a battle.
Oh my god, that would have been great. That's a good fucking fight right there.
Okay, all right, so
That's a fantasy fight right
I'm
there.
gonna back this up. We're gonna go 135 up. Top super fight of all time, where you're just picking 2 dudes from a division, any time frame they go against each other.
What's Mighty Mouse is 125, but he fought at 135, right?
Yeah,
I would say Mighty Mouse.
versus Torres.
No,
That would be a fight too.
that would be a great fucking fight. I want to see. I would like to see Miguel Torres versus TJ.
That's at 135.
Yeah,
That's a fucking awesome fight.
yeah, I would like to see that.
145.
145.
145.
I would like to see. I mean, they already.
Jamie Varner.
Jamie Varner. I love that dude.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome.
I would like to. I would say Aldo versus BJ. I would just to see.
That would be a good fight.
You know.
170. 170. GSP versus.
Frank. If Frank could make the 170,
That would be a fucking awesome fight. 185.
Anderson versus.
That's a tough one.
Hold on. I would like to see Anderson versus Machida,
That would be a good fight.
just because they're both coming in. They're both very
205.
unique. 205. I would like to see Vanderlei. No, Liddell versus Jones.
That would be fucking
That would be
awesome
great.
too. And then super heavyweight or heavyweight.
The fight we never got to see in their primes, it would be Fedor versus Couture. I think that's the one that got away.
I would bring back stuff too, like
And it was that close.
I would definitely go back to letting the guys have their own sponsors on their uniforms. Like remember when Tap Out had a show?
Unfortunately,
But you know what?
It was a good show
I
when he
enjoyed
was-
that show because
That
they
was
were
a good show.
They
they
were
were like reality TV, though. That's
but they were sponsoring like up and coming fighters.
They were on the tour
and,
bus.
and those guys would always be like the first dudes in the crowd. Like they would always like and like Skyscraper would be there and like the crowd's like ah. That's when it was cool, right?
Yeah.
And what was it? NHB had their like shirts and stuff like that. No holds barred.
It looked like the baseball logo.
Yeah, but there was a time.
Full contact fighter.
Yeah, full contact fighter. Like there was a time when there was like cool shit you could wear, and it's kind of gone away. Now that
MMA
it's a
had
brand.
that period. MMA had that period. What
Yeah.
I like to call like
I had a full contact fighter sweatshirt that I fucking loved. It was one of my favorites.
Do you think it wasn't until like Dynamic Fastener came along that they were just
or Condom Depot.
But I was fine with all that too.
MMA had that brief period of time for like 5 years or so where it was like in like what I like to call like the heavy metal band shirt phase.
Yeah.
Because back in the day,
Or
if you
NASCAR.
if you saw someone rocking like a Maiden shirt or a Slayer shirt, you'd be like, fucking Slayer. You'd see someone at the mall. You didn't even know him, but, so you would see like that guy rocking a fucking full
Right.
contact fighter, and you'd be like, yo. It was a smaller community.
even tap out shirts back then were cool.
There wasn't a whole lot of them, yeah, but then, I mean, you know what killed it for me was those god-awful, ugly,
Well,
what were those ones? The Affliction shirts.
yeah. Well, it started too when you started seeing that stuff sold in just regular stores,
Pennies.
like Penny's or Sears, and
Yeah, well,
you,
Tap Outs now got bought by WWE.
or you see a guy
Yeah, tap. And you know where you can find tap out stuff?
I think.
everywhere.
Aeropostale.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. With John Cena.
Yeah. But
I don't shop at those stores.
there was
a
there was a time where all that
American
shit was
Eagle
cool.
Outfitter.
All that shit was cool, and then it made its way to mainstream, and now it's not cool. Like I see a dude in a tap out shirt now, and just kind of like,
Well, yeah, because it was
So
like
there
like
is-
the indie band, and then they got signed to a major label.
I saw a guy at the gym yesterday wearing a Frankie or not a Frankie, an Eddie Alvarez shirt, and I see him walk.
Yeah, but that's local. You're
right
gonna
now.
get-
But I'm watching him walk around the gym like he's a hard guy,
they all do that.
and I'm looking at him I'm like, dude, you've never been in a fight in your life.
So why can't he represent Eddie Alvarez?
Yeah, it's different for Eddie because
But
Eddie's
if
got
you're
so
wearing,
many
there's a
people.
difference between wearing it and then wearing it and walk around like you're a hard guy.
Well, there's two things that I'm going to poke holes in your theory. Number one,
Poke holes.
you're at the gym, you're all fucking testosteroned up. You know,
You're gimmicked up.
you're gearing up for fucking something. So I don't have a problem with people sticking their chest out doing that shit because you're at the gym. That's the time to do it. Second thing is, Eddie's local. He's going to have so many people that are showing him love in this area. If it was like he was rocking like an Anderson shirt or like a fucking Brock Lesnar shirt, then it's like, all right, calm down there,
You
Turbo.
kind of lose him a little
There's
bit.
a tap out documentary that's coming out, or is it
Yeah,
out?
it's already out.
Watched that.
Yeah, it's
I was
already
a
out.
little sad when Mask died.
Well, that's when it
wasn't.
became J.C. Penney.
Yeah.
That
He should have been
guys,
drag racing.
Those guys couldn't
true.
run it. Those guys couldn't run it without him.
Yeah, he was the brains behind the thing. And then one guy who's got the grenade on his hand, he was a cop or something at one time.
Of course he was.
How much money do you think those guys have?
At this point, probably not a whole lot. I mean,
Shitload.
they probably all have bad cocaine habits.
Why do you guys say that?
I don't know. Like, everyone's like, oh, I feel so bad. No, you know who I feel sorry for? His fucking girlfriend who got fucking thrown from the
Didn't
car.
have any control over it.
Yeah, she was just fucking in the car, and he had to, I'm going to drag race this guy, dickhead.
And he
How'd
died.
that work out for you?
Not good.
Okay, then fuck him.
All right, so on that note,
I'm just saying.
I know. We're like an hour and a half into this. We're going to...
Yeah, because people have been saying, no, the show's too long.
We're going to slow it down. We're going to ease out. We're going to pull the head out.
Hold on. We're going to exit out with some music here.
It's like it's the first time.
Let's thank our sponsors. Let's talk about Philadelphia Comedy Club. We're going to talk soothing. Who's the guy that does the painting? Who's the guy that does the painting?
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Guys, thanks for listening. You can get a discount ticket at Philadelphia Comedy Club using the CAY podcast code
Wow.
coming at you. Check us out on Dads in Cargo Shorts. Check out our friend Resp at resptattoo.com. Also check out comingatyoupodcast.com. You can also find us on outofpocketnetwork.com. Bullet, do you have anything else to offer?
XCC.
Extreme Cage Combat.
I'd like to thank everybody for all their support and checking us out. And you can visit us on our various social media, on Facebook,
Please feel free
on
to
Instagram,
please feel free to share the show.
on Twitter. Go to iTunes and give us a good review, 5 stars, and write something nice.
Make some happy comments.
You can find us also on Stitcher Smart Radio,
Give us some thumbs up.
TuneIn Radio, Spotify,
If you see us out in public, say hi.
Blueberry,
Blueberry.
all where you find all of your favorite podcasts, and for the low price
Of $0.
of $0.
Thanks for listening. Check us out next week. Take care.